What's up guys, Elfis here, and today we're going to be doing another HoN replay analysis. This time, once again, we're going to be doing another one for Haku's Love. This time he's going to be playing Pyromancer, about the same skill level though, about another 1500 game. As usual, Tidy Jangles is joining me.
Good evening once again.
And we're going to go ahead and jump in because it is quite a lengthy game actually. You ready?
I am indeed, hang on. Yeah, ready.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so about a 1500 level game. We're doing another one for for Haku's Love because
For me?
yeah, we're doing another one for Tidy Jangles because we love you that much. We're doing another one for Haku's Love because nobody else has requested any yet. So feel free to keep submitting them if you so desire. I do want to specifically talk about his items this game, and we'll get to it at the end of the game and as we're going through the game. But so he said this was a game he thought he played well, I believe, and if I'm not mistaken. And the items are not wrong necessarily, but it depends on how you want to play. And I think you should have played it differently in this particular game, and we'll get to it when we go over that. But I just wanted to bring up that thought. So keep in mind the items as we're going through the game. We actually do end up having a Predator and Rampage on the Hellborn team, so these two actually do pick that. I don't remember the rest of the team, so I remember...
You look at Brown's name and his stats, he's clearly just a really bad smurf.
Carry swag. Yeah, not the best. Probably like a 1550 smurfing. Gotta love him. Okay, so I hope this is not the team we're gonna see for the Legion team, because that's... Oh, that's a sad team. I don't like that team. Okay, so we do get Behemoth instead. Nice. Okay, okay. So I'm not upset. Oh, what the hell? He selected Behemoth and then repicked Behemoth.
Witch Slayer.
What?
Right.
Okay.
Really, that was a misclick.
Oh.
Or maybe he just wants the added challenge. Less money.
Okay. Well, that was interesting. I haven't seen one of those. That was N1 retarded thing ever. Okay.
I just got a whisper. Shout out to Houndor. Yes, we are doing another replay analysis right now.
Yeah, he sent me a private message. I didn't read it though because we were in the middle of one. Tell him if you're talking to him, tell him I'll read it afterwards. Sorry. Okay, so Legion team, we have Pebbles, Behemoth, Witch Slayer, Silhouette, Pyromancer versus the Hellborn team. We have Pearl, Blitz, Jeremiah, Rampage, Predators. First of all, the Legion team, before we talk about items. The Legion team, I actually really like this team. The only thing is that you kind of... It's not a bad team, it's fine, it's just... You kind of have, like, a weird, like...
You have to lane Behemoth a bit awkwardly. That's
yeah, it's just like an odd... So
you
your
kind of
lanes...
have to lane with Silhouette.
Your lanes will set up a bit odd, and then... Okay, so you're not even going to do a Pyromancer mid, so now... Now this is weird. Are you doing a support Pyromancer? Because if so, then your items don't make any sense at the end of the game. You built like a carry Pyromancer when it looks like you're going to have to support.
No, I know what they're doing. He's going to go solo, and it's going to be a farming Behemoth as a support Witch Slayer. Okay, it works out alright.
Yeah, but then he has Silhouette Pyromancer bottom, and the problem with that is that Pyromancer has to support, but he doesn't build support items. He builds like a carry, so I'm confused. Does he take all of...
Silhouette and Behemoth top. Okay, support Behemoth, and yeah, this lane's a bit weird. Actually, to be honest, it's the only way it would really work, unless you had... Well, Behemoth laning with Silhouette would probably be the best way, and then Pyro mid, Witch, Pebbles.
Yeah, well, the way I would have done it was I would have done Pyromancer mid, Witch Slayer Pebbles, and then a Silhouette Behemoth lane bot, but you have to do... Yeah. You have to play Behemoth like a hidden support from the jungle, like from the woods down here in the bot lane, because
but you could have tri-laned, you could have had Silhouette solo, Pyro mid, and then tri-laned with Pebbles, Behemoth, Witch. It's just a bit of a weird tri-lane with only one range, though.
Well, you know,
it was always going to be a bit awkward.
I never advocate tri-lanes anymore because they take a fair amount of coordination and they rarely work when you do it with randoms. It's just, it's a sad sight to see. And so I actually like Pebbles' choice to not get anything with his extra gold early on. He chose just the Hatchet and Runes. I like that. That's nice. Just on a side note, so Pyromancer's items. So the only thing that I have to comment on is you got Duck Boots, which is a little bit odd on a Pyromancer. Usually you would get the, I'm not sure what that 150...
Mark of the Novice.
Yeah, Mark of the Novice, and then either build, and probably build into a Grave Locket, especially if you're going a support Pyromancer. and that's usually the starting kind of just meta for Pyromancer. Everybody does it really, because Gravelock gets OP. So Duck Boots are just kind of weird. They're not.
I guess he wants an Energizer.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, but the problem is it's not really like a Pyromancer item, and he does end up getting an Energizer, just so you know. I remember that from his items. It's not wrong, it's just you don't need the Energizer when you have a PK, because...
And you are trying to take creep kills from Silhouette here as well. I just noticed that.
Yeah, so that's kind of odd. Silhouette... Yeah, so he got the ring. I like the ring of the teacher. That's a nice pickup, especially when you have a pyro in your lane. I like it. On the upside, he is harassing a fair amount. You guys are actually pushing this lane, by the way. I've noticed you like a couple times auto-attacking like creeps.
But they do have 3 archers, so
yeah,
I guess over pushing it could kind of work in their favor to push into the tower quicker.
Yeah, that's true. You want the tower to kill off those archers because archers OP, man. And it's good. Actually, Silhouette, I was going to comment on it, but Silhouette did turn off the ring for the creeps, so that's a good job. Okay, so lane-wise, your lanes aren't wrong, alright? With that being said, just want to quickly go over the Hellborn team. That was it's just kind of a waste of your mana, but it's not a huge deal. Hellborn team, so they have kind of a shitty team, a pretty bad team in my opinion. It's just a really weird team. It has, like, too much melee for starters, and then the ranged players they aren't like ranged that can really do much against your range, and their lanes are really weird, kind of. I mean, they have to do a rampage mid isn't bad, especially when you assume that Pyromancer or Pebbles is going mid, which I actually would have assumed Pyromancer was going mid, and against Pyro it's not crazy good, but at least you can beat him in CK. But
I would expect Rampage to win mid versus Pebbles because Pebbles' starting armor is terrible and Rampage does so much physical damage.
Well, and on top of that, just the Horn Strike, you can't outlast hit him as a melee.
Yeah.
I mean, well, as anybody really, but you just can't beat him with last hits once that's off cooldown. Every time it's off cooldown, he's gonna get a last hit over you. It's just guaranteed. What I will say though is that Rampage has actually used his regen. All 3 of his starting runes are regen, and Pebbles did not. He sold his leftover once he sold 2 of them, so he didn't use them. I'm not sure why he sold them, to be honest. He didn't need to, but he didn't use them, so that's an upside. I missed that on bot lane, actually, but I don't see this lane being all that good. So
well, they initiated onto Jereziah, and he managed to get his charm and heal off and live, and then they turned it around on Silhouette.
Yeah, so I just want to... this is gonna screw Silhouette all game. Silhouette's not doing the best on farm, but then again, you weren't either, so in general, it's kind of an odd lane considering you're like sort of taking farm, but if you're sort of taking farm, neither of you are getting farm. Like, you can't sort of take farm. You kind of need to either take farm or not take farm. And we've talked about it before. You kind of just... I mean, in the laning phase, in each lane, there's pretty much one primary farmer. That's how it works out all the time, you know? It's just... You're better off having one player far ahead and one player behind as opposed to 2 players on equal footing, really. That's just how it works. So we get boots first. That's totally fine. See, Jereziah out of regen, Blitz. Okay, so Blitz looks like he's probably going for an Energizer too, would be my guess. That's totally fine, I guess. So we do have a charge bottom. I didn't actually look to see if Pebbles could see it or not, but Pebbles should have... Oh no, sorry, it wasn't a charge. He just picked up a haste ring and walked. My mistake.
Nice juke.
Yeah, and then a nice stun by Silhouette. Unnecessary, but still totally fine. Kind of just a waste by Rampage, really. But to be fair, he could have made that quite well if he had been level 6 and pulled you into their team. That could have been really bad for you. Let's see, CK-wise, you guys are doing terrible. 10-1, and then 7-5. So CK, like the amount of CK that's been taken isn't horrible. Usually at 5 minutes you'd have about 25, give or take. That's not bad. It's just, again, it's split between the 2 of you. So one of you could have had, about completed Steam Boots by now, probably, if you had been getting all of them that you needed and things of that nature. Silhouette, how are you leveling? So I don't really like Silhouette's leveling, but that's kind of me. Oh, nice, very nice. You landed your stun. Very good job. Let's see. So first of all, so we still have no upgraded courier. That should be Witch Slayer or Behemoth's job. We only have 1 ward. kind of unfortunate. So it looks like your supports aren't really doing their jobs. I don't particularly like a Behemoth support, so I would appreciate it if Witch did it. But Behemoth can be like a secondary support. He shouldn't be the ward bitch.
To be honest, with the way that they're laning, Pyro should be the one supporting.
Yeah,
it looks like it should be Behemoth taking farm at top.
Yeah. They definitely should. Really, you can't put an intelligence and an agility in a lane, and this applies for all of them except for like maybe Andromeda, who's an agility, and there might be one or two others that like
Engineer.
Yeah.
If you're running support, Master of Arms.
Yeah, they aren't really carries, even though they're agilities. But Silhouette is by far a carry, so you can't play her as not a carry really. But you can play Pyromancer as not a carry. You can play Pyromancer as a support, or a ganker, or a roamer, or XYZ. So you need to fill the role that's necessary, and in the case where you're laning with a Silhouette, support is the role that's necessary. Now, what I will say is you actually end up doing fairly well this game, and I'm not going to say that you shouldn't have gone a carry. Just in a normal game, you should. Now, granted, it's a 1500, so I tend to not do what I should sometimes anyways, because I don't like depending on other players I don't trust to do their jobs. So that may be what you were thinking. I'm not sure, but in general.
Yeah, but this is something that we mentioned when we did we covered the Blitz game, where you play the role that you're given essentially by the lanes. You don't always get to play what you wanted to play when you made your pick. It does depend on how everyone else picks and what the lanes are.
Yeah, and you're thinking of Succubus, by the way, not Blitz.
No, I was thinking of Blitz.
Well, we didn't do a Blitz game for him. Are you talking about for somebody else then?
Yeah, for someone else.
Okay, alright, maybe. Okay, so we're going Ghost Marchers. I 100% prefer Steam Boots on Pyromancer. For the primary reason being that once you get the PK, once again, the mobility, and especially if you're getting an Energizer.
Yeah, I was going to mention that.
You don't need that much mobility. That's way too much. And then on top of that, the plus 10 stats is awesome in all aspects, and the attack speed, because it further makes you a carry. That's what, is it called Fervor? Yeah, Fervor.
Yeah.
Fervor is the ability that allows Pyromancer to play as a carry. It gives him crazy attack speed when he's blasting his spells. That's the goal of it. And by the way, you're all about to get fucked by this rampage. Yeah, you're probably dead here.
Nothing you can really do when he's invis.
Yeah, the only thing, he got that room bottom, so had you guys had a ward, could have protected you, but, it is what it is. What's done is done. But so anyways, back to the Steam Boots. You want Steam Boots, for the reason that you should almost always get a PK on... Oh, you're fucked, Jersey. You should almost always get a PK on Pyromancer, and once you get the PK, that's plenty of mobility. You don't need more. And then on top of that, the stats are awesome sauce. Everybody loves plus 10. Intelligence for mana regen and damage, agility for armor if that's the case you want to go, strength for health if you need to survive. It's awesome on Pyromancer. There's rarely any case I would ever even consider getting Ghost Marchers over Steam Boots on him. I can't think of one off the top of my head, but there may be one. I do like how...
Certainly not if you're going to be getting an Energizer.
Yeah.
And probably a PK if you know what you're doing.
I do like how you're kind of... Yeah, I was going to say, I do like how you're rotating out to a different lane now that you've hit 6. You don't need to stay bottom. Silhouette should be able to survive by herself with the use of her... actually, she put a point in her ultimate, which I disagree with, but with the use of her grapple, she shouldn't die too much, so you don't really need to stick around there. And you went out and got a kill with your ultimate instantly. That was kind of Pearl's misplay. As soon as she saw you, she should have backed off. But hey, if they want to make mistakes, feel free to take the kills, I guess. I don't know. We do have... No, we almost have enough to see our Ghost Marchers completed. They do not have enough magic damage to warrant a Mystic Vestments, so I hope nobody on this Hellborn or Legion team gets Mystic Vestments. I hope everybody on the Hellborn team gets them, though.
Yeah.
So we have an Alchemist Bones Predator. That's kind of weird. You don't...
I actually think it's alright because he got him quite early.
Yeah, so you can play
On
Predator.
any farming hero, it's fine to get him early.
You can play Predator in a whole bunch of ways. The only reason I don't like Alchemist Bones on him is just because Predator is really strong early game, so I usually tend to get a lot of kills with him and not focus so much on farming. By the way, very nice stun by both of you, and this should be a free kill. Yes, good job, the two of you. You don't need to fear Predator. He has no mana. especially with your pebbles coming in. There's absolutely no reason for fear him. Nice stun. Very nice job. So you're hitting these stuns near flawlessly, so I do want to give you credit for that. Oh, that was a perfect behemoth stun. I think he's still going to get away. Yeah, he's going to get away. Very likely. Oh, oops, my mistake. Jerizai is probably... No, Jerizai should get away too. So you guys don't really have much mana left. The only thing is...
back off at this point.
Yeah,
unlikely to get him.
Yeah, the only thing I was going to say, if your team coordination was a bit up, you or one of you could have backed off, and then Pebbles can get closer to him and chuck him back to you. So that's kind of something that just takes team coordination and a bit of knowledge as the Pebbles player. A lot of people don't use Pebbles chuck to its fullest extent, but kind of disappoints me. But you know, it is what it is. So we got that Soul Scream ring completed. I imagine we're going to see an Energizer first. If we're going to get an Energizer, you should get it early on. Should be your first item considering how cheap it is, and on top of that you want the utility of it throughout the whole game, really. So I disagree with the Energizer. I think you should have gone... You could have gone a couple ways. If you were going to play support Pyromancer, Energizer's okay, but I would have liked to see like maybe a... You could have gone Storm Spirit, you could have gone... Crowd control items really is the idea behind a support.
Could have even gotten a Ring of Sorcery if you're playing support.
Yeah, you could have gotten a Ring of Sorcery. Ring of Sorcery is fine. In a normal game, you could also go Tablet of Command, although this game, they don't really have much that warrants a Tablet of Command. Now, I mean, you could use it for your team to, you know, push Pebbles or somebody closer, but I don't know. Usually you would get a Tablet of Command more so for the enemy team rather than an offensive reason, but it's not, even that wouldn't be terrible.
Tablet would be very good against Rampage, actually.
It doesn't disjoint his ultimate though, right?
No, it doesn't disjoint, but you can break his ultimate if you push him.
So it does. It breaks the ultimate then. That's what
it breaks the ultimate, yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. So never mind then. I would say, yeah, Tablet Command would have been fine too. If you were gonna
also
play that
good
one.
against Predators to push people away from him after he leaps on them.
So you kind of miss your stun there. I actually wouldn't have even.
The wave.
Yeah, I wouldn't have used my ultimate at all in that case. It's not. Yeah, they're gonna get the kill anyway, so it's not bad. It's just, in general, if you miss all your damage, it's probably not the best idea to use your ultimate, because especially, well, when it's level 1, because it has a really long cooldown. Was it 180, 160? I can't see, where is it? 150 seconds at level 1, so it's kind of a long cooldown. Usually you wouldn't want to use it unless you're guaranteeing kills. Now that's not to say that you should be, you know, liberal when you're using it. Feel free to, you know, go ahead and conservative, not liberal. But, you know, feel free to use it, just you want to have a fairly significant percentage that you're going to get the kill. Maybe you saw the enemy team coming, or your teammates coming, I'm not sure, but just in general. So let's see, Pyromancer, GPM. So we're sitting at 160 GPM. That's really low, and the reasoning for that is because you and Silhouette were fighting for farm. Like I was saying, you need to pick somebody to give the farm to, and if that's you, then fine. If that's Silhouette, then fine. It should have definitely been Silhouette, but either way, somebody should be getting the majority of the farm, so somebody has good GPM. Now you both kind of have mediocre GPM. It's not really good. It's not terrible either, though. So it kind of just delays.
It is pretty terrible if he's not playing support. Which
well, for the Pyromancer, the Silhouette had, until he just died, he had 200 GPM. It's not terrible. It's just not good. It's certainly not. Okay, I'll give it to you, man. Maybe it is kind of bad, but yeah, and 160 at 15. Well, I guess it was like 13 when I saw it, but 13, 14 minutes.
Hopefully we'll see stack agents here. Nope.
No, you know what?
Gank, okay.
I'm actually okay with him not stacking ancients.
Yeah, because he's going for the gank. Yeah.
Yeah, and even, well, no, he should have gone for the gank, but oh, that was a bad behemoth stun, and that was that a lag? That was. He moved way sooner. So what I'm imagining happened is you clicked to do the stun when you were like way back in the trees. You can hit stop or move, and it stops the you know, like your guy goes to do the stun, even if that, you know, what was in that area moves. So feel free to hit S or just move, and it'll stop the stun. I'm not sure if that was lag or what, but that was a very delayed reaction. So
I actually bind my stop and hold to spacebar because it's easier for animation cancelling and such.
no, Yeah, that's true too. I prefer. I just got used to using stop and S and H. So you know, to each their own. Though, if you like that better, that's fine. Your positioning. Do we have an ultimate? We do have an ultimate. If you could stun him, no. So the stun was way off.
Again, you
Yeah,
should have
you still
cancelled
got it.
that. You knew it wasn't going to hit.
Yeah. Especially on his stun, Pyromancer stun has a very long cast time. In you know, relatively speaking, against other stuns for the most part. It gives you a lot of time to react and stop the stun if you notice it's not going to hit. Okay, so once again, feel free to just press S or spacebar like he does if you bind your key to that, or move. If you move, it stops it as well, but not once it's already started casting. You have to actually stop the cast once it's started casting. So keep that in mind, and that applies to every hero, not just Pyromancers. It's just that Pyromancer stun has quite a long cast time. So I'm not actually sure the cast time, but I know it's long. So we ported back mid. So we're getting our... Okay, so you got a power supply. Or sorry, a mana battery. That's fine. Mana battery's okay. They don't have too many skills that will like proc it all that often, because they don't really spam many skills, but that's okay, because as long as you use it effectively. Do we have any charges on it? No, I guess not. You probably used it in that last fight, I would think, so that's good. Getting the Energizer still. So your positioning's fine. You should have... Well, no, never mind. I was gonna say you should have the Energizer by now, but you haven't really had the best farm, so that's okay. So right here, you're sitting here in mid, wasting time. Nobody's farming your jungle. Go kill your jungle. Go kill the yellow camp. Go kill any camps, actually, at this point with your 2 damage skills leveled up max. You can kill any of the camps, so...
The problem is, because he went for Ghost Marchers and because he's going for Energizer, he's got absolutely no...
Regen.
Yeah, he's got no in,
Yeah.
basically. The problem is static gaining a little bit from the stats items.
So that was a weird initiation by Pebbles. He should have realized that nobody's going to be able to back him up. Actually, I do want to give credit to Silhouette, though. That was a nice dodge of the ability. Yeah, you guys, you got the tower. Leave. Don't fight this. Okay, you can fight a Predator who's stupid and wants to go out by himself, but in general, once you get what you came for, which is the tower, there's no reason to take unnecessary risk. So unless you can guarantee kills and wins and blah, 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 then leave.
By the way, just a little side note, Pebbles, get Steam Boots. Don't
Yeah.
get Ghost Marchers. You don't have the stats to use your combo when you've got a portal key. I mean, I think he might barely, but I mean, just like generally, if you got an early portal key as you're supposed to, you wouldn't have the stats.
He actually will, because it's 240 to do the full combo.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, like, generally speaking, if you get a portal key at the time when you're supposed to, i.e. like 10 minutes latest, really, if you're getting free farm, then you won't have the stat gain by that point to use your full combo, or you might have the stat gain to use your full combo once, and then you have to go all the way back to the well because of the amount of mana you'll have to regen to use another skill. I really... Oh...
That's unfortunate. And he even says, fuck. I'm okay with the Ghost Marchers on Pebbles, but I do see your point with the whole stat thing. You won't have the mana to use all of what you want to use, but I don't think it's a huge deal. But I do see your point. So either way, Steam Boots or Ghost Marchers, I'm fine. He apparently likes Steam Boots better, but it does come down a bit to preference. Although, yeah, when you get a early timed PK, you should probably go Steam Boots. The only thing I will say is that he didn't have free farm because he was against a Rampage in mid, which is fairly hard. I mean, when it comes to you getting CK, it should be okay because his Horn Strike won't proc on his own creeps. But I mean, he can still kind of scare you off every now and then with the Horn Strike, and then denies while you're being pushed back or whatever. So that's the only thing, but it's not a huge deal. TPs again, I love it. You always have TPs on it, man. You should have actually bought 2 right there just so you had another one. But I imagine we're close to our next item since we have 950. Oh no, you know what? You might go for a PK next. So yeah, if you do get a PK. So if you're going for a PK next, that's okay. It's going to be kind of a delayed PK, but that's all right because you're still ahead on levels. So as long as you can stay up on levels, then you're good. So
I want to mention, you know that there's 2 enemy heroes there, and you know that you have a mana pool because of the stats you chose. So don't use your skills to push out the lane.
This is not
when
gonna...
there's 2 enemy heroes right there.
Oh, Pearl kind of helped you there. That's interesting. Okay. Not the best Pearl ultimate, although I bet she probably thought she was going to die. So, Silhouette shouldn't be here. Silhouette. No. So you guys are actually focusing Rampage here. You should have gone down to help Silhouette. It looks like...
Mischief's done.
Oh, Silhouette. She pressed the wrong key. Oh, no. I'm sorry. I was watching Silhouette. She pressed the key to pull the tree to her instead of pull to the tree. Unfortunate. And you may die here, actually. Yeah, you're dead. Okay. So that was unfortunate. You shouldn't have dove that far to begin with. Purple got somebody down here. He got Jeremiah. All in all, I'd say you guys probably lost that fight. Not based on the numbers. I think numbers-wise, you were probably about even. But based on the heroes that died. So
generally, you are losing the game at this point, though.
Yeah, if you look up top, you're down 7.2k gold. That's a lot of gold to be down.
7.6k experience as well.
Yeah. That's a lot. That's a very big deficit. And it does come down... well, the one thing I will say is that on the upside, your goals, rather, seems to be a bit spread out rather than kind of on one hero, whereas theirs seems to be mostly in Predator and Rampage. So if... this is a pretty big if, since with a Jeremiah on the team is almost impossible, but if you could kill them, their team is rather weak. So that's the only upside. It's not the best. I would prefer, I mean, if your Silhouette is doing good right now, and of course, assuming you played it well as well, you guys could do quite well. Pebbles initiating on this Jeremiah. Oh, he popped Jeremiah's ult. That was nice. Same thing again, you're wasting time here, just like walking around. You can go farm the jungle. I mean, in this case, your yellow was farming it, but I mean, you can go farm bot lane, you could farm the jungle. You could go, you're coming top here. I'm not super happy about that, only because Predator's really hard to gank when all you have is magic damage. You have to really stun lock him and keep it on for like the whole time. But that's just me. Let's see. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure we are going for that PK. So, again, you guys are just, like, pub training through the jungle, wasting time. If you don't... Yeah. I mean, you do get a kill, so it's not a huge waste of time, but if you don't have the sight to go through the jungle...
It is a waste of time, because Pebbles got that kill solo. They didn't get assist for that. They didn't do any damage to him.
They did get experience, because they were close enough, but yeah.
Well, they got experience, but they didn't get an assist. They didn't
Pebbles
get any gold.
PK? Pebbles PK? Pebbles PK? No! What are we doing, Pebbles? Thank you. There we go. It's like... most delayed PK ever. Okay, yeah, this should be a free kill. There's no reason we should let Rampage live here. Okay, so I very much so disagree with your choice to hold on to that ultimate. It looks like he's gonna get away, but...
The ult would not.
No, he's not. So, okay. Yeah, the ult wouldn't have killed him, but just in general, you shouldn't save the ultimate if you don't need to. Like, there wasn't any guarantee you guys were going to get that kill, so it's probably not a good idea to take the risk of saving your abilities. I'm not sure if you were saving it for the kill, or if you made a judgment call saying you didn't think you needed it. By the way, you should definitely go B here, because even though you know 3 of them are mid, they have a tower down here. They could easily port down here. I don't know, that's a little bit my opinion, I guess, but... yeah. We are still fairly close to that PK. It's going to be a delayed PK, which is okay, once again, because you're ahead on levels. If you're not ahead on levels, don't go PK on Pyromancer, because it's not going to be useful.
If it doesn't TP out now, it's dead to Rampage when he respawns, for sure.
Yeah, your mic's, like, techno-y, but yeah, I would agree.
I don't know what's wrong with it.
Nice TP. It was almost perfectly timed. You're actually... Blitz wouldn't have been able to cast his stun in time anyways, but he did go the wrong way, so... nice TP.
Nice
okay, so
on the Void Talisman.
Okay, yeah. Now I'm so against your build. So I didn't agree with the Energizer. I'm not upset with the Void Talisman, but you should not have gotten it now. They don't have enough physical damage yet to warrant a Void Talisman. The Void Talisman is usually like a 30-minute plus, 40-minute plus item you get. Not.
You know, actually, no. I totally disagree with you there.
You think just because of the Rampage and a little bit of Predator, you think it's worth it?
I think because of Rampage and Predator, yeah, it's completely worth it. Especially Rampage, because he can't do anything to you. He can't ult you. He can't charge you. He can't hit you. Like Rampage is completely useless against you once you get up the Talisman. And he is by far doing the most on their team at the moment.
Well, so I see your point, but that just doesn't it doesn't warrant it to me. That's not enough. One hero isn't enough to warrant it, especially when you take into account that Pyromancer only has 2 deaths. It's not like he's getting focused every time they fight or anything. He's not really feeding. And on top of that, when you take into account all of that, it delays his PK even more because I know he gets a PK. I saw it in his final items.
You should not have got it before your PK. And to be honest, I wouldn't have even got the Energizer and the Steam Boots. That's complete overkill. I really...
you mean Ghost Marchers?
Yeah, you should have got... If you're gonna go Energizer, which I wouldn't go anyway, but you know, that's your personal style, you know. You've got to have a bit of leeway for people's own personal preference items, and Energizer's one of those items. It's never bad on anyone, really. But at the same time, I wouldn't have prioritized those 2 items over a portal key.
Yeah, so I'm not upset with the Void Talisman. I'm upset with the timing of the Void Talisman. If you had got a Void Talisman 35, 40 minutes, cool.
What the hell is Behemoth building?
It looks like he's building nothing. He doesn't have any money. What do you mean?
Well, he just got a life tube.
Oh. That infamous, you know, Helm of the Black Legion Beaky. 26 mins. It's okay, man.
He probably, like, is saying, I'm tank over chat or something.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not a good choice. But so on top of the fact that I don't think you needed a Void Talisman yet, delaying your PK is like the worst thing you can do if you plan on getting a PK. The later you wait to get it, the less effective, the less usefulness it is. Because you can no longer, if you were to get a PK at 50 minutes, for example, you can't jump in and kill anybody solo because they, you know, you don't, well, I mean, I guess you could, I shouldn't say you couldn't, but it's very stupid to do so usually because you don't know where the enemy team is a lot of the times, and on top of that, a lot of people won't be killed in your combo like they would at 20 minutes, you know? So, and that applies to a lot of people that do get PKs, with the exceptions being that the initiators like Behemoth or Magnus or something like that. But, I mean, the longer you wait for the PK, the less you should get it. So, I mean, at this point, I know you get a PK next. Well, I'm hoping it's next anyways. But it's iffy. I don't even know if I would still get a PK at this point. I would probably not get a PK at 30 minutes. But that's a little bit up to me. You should have just sold that health potion, by the way. There's no reason to throw it on the ground. It's not like a hatchet. You can actually sell it back for 50 gold. I mean, it's not a huge deal, but I'm just saying. Let's see. Mystic Vestments. So you did get Mystic Vestments. No.
If you're getting a Void Talisman, it's okay.
The Vestments?
Yeah, simply because of the Void Talisman lowering your magic armor. They do have some magic damage. It's kind of a worthwhile pickup considering you're getting a Void Talisman. But against that team, they don't really have that much magic damage.
They don't really have any. I mean, they have Predator's Leap, and then they have Blitz's damage, really, and Pearl does a little bit. But,
Jeremiah does a little bit as well.
Oh, with the heal. Yeah, that's right,
Yeah.
I guess. Do we have mana? We have mana for stun. Okay, there we go. There's no reason to delay your stun. I mean, I guess what I'm assuming happened was you delayed your stun because you were waiting until you knew you could hit it, which is fine. Don't get me wrong, it's okay. It's just odd. And again, it comes back to the Steam Boots over Ghost Marcher's choice. You have no mana regen. Like, look at your mana. Like, you didn't build a Null Stone or any type of mana regen items. It's
if you'd have had Steam Boots and a Grave Rocket, you'd have plenty of mana.
Yeah, and on top of that, by the way, the whole Void Talisman for Rampage thing, if you had gotten a Null Stone, which is only, I mean, granted, it is more expensive, but it's not that much more expensive. A Null Stone nullifies the majority of his usefulness anyways, so, yeah, I mean, it doesn't nullify all of it, but...
Null Stone would have been nice because they do have a fair amount of little single target annoying spells to deal with.
Yeah, especially if you're playing Predator, the most annoying thing somebody can do is get an Null Stone because you can't touch them. You can't get close to them. That's his ability to get close and crowd control them. You have to literally depend entirely on your team to stop their movement so you can do stuff. Okay, so now I'm getting upset. So we still did no PK still. I don't understand. Did I see something? Did he not have a PK at the end? I'm confused.
I don't know.
I could have sworn I saw one, but if I'm mistaken, then I apologize throughout this game. So we got a light brand. That's okay. I guess we're going for... Oh, he gets a Grimoire's Heart. That's what he's going for. Where is that? Combative, maybe?
Grimoire's in combat.
Yeah, Grimoire of Power. Sorry, not Grimoire Heart. Sorry. So he gets a Grimoire of Power. It's not wrong. It's just...
It's a decent item on in carries, but it's not... The items you're getting, don't get us wrong, none of them are bad items. It's just when you're choosing to get them and what you're choosing to prioritize them over that is the mistake. And you're probably, you know, so you've got 2 deaths now. You don't die for the rest of the game. So obviously you think, oh, I'm doing really well and stuff. I can get whatever items I want. And when you look back at the end of the game, you'll probably think that you did really well. But if you bring it back to the early game, you didn't really get anything in terms of kills and farm. The only reason you're doing alright now is because you've been getting a few kills and you've obviously got the nuke combo to take out creep waves and get farm that way. But your item build is really holding you back. You could have had an even better game if you'd have gone for a better item build.
Yeah, you really could have.
Nice.
Oh,
nice initiation.
That was nice. That was a very good combo. You pop the token instantly. That's nice. The only thing, and actually you pop the token without really using any of your team's key abilities. It looks like the Rampage, or not sorry, Rampage, Behemoth's ult is on cooldown, but other than that,
Yeah.
everything else, you saved it all. So, your ultimate still hasn't been used. It looks like you're backing off of it. Nope, you stand corrected, you're coming back in. So, still no ultimate. You haven't been spamming your skills as much as I would like to see. You have full mana, so there's no reason to hold back. Yeah, just use your skills more. You're not using them, not using them. I'm confused a bit, and then you use it in this. So I can understand missing that stun. Missing the Dragon Fire was a little bit, or was it Dragon Fire? Phoenix Wave.
Phoenix Wave.
Missing the Phoenix Wave was a bit odd, but the stun, it's okay, I guess. You couldn't really have. That was a nice. That's probably how I would have stunned too, so it's fine. I might have done it just a bit to the left, just because there's you don't need to stun so much like up here. You need to stun more like right here, where he's going to be coming out. So, but it's not a huge deal. We do have a haste, but just in general in that fight, you were not using your abilities anywhere near as much as you should. There's 2 reasons you should spam your abilities. 1, because you do a lot of damage, but 2, because, well, I guess 3. 2, because of the fervor. Oh, we're good, okay. 2, because of the fervor. Nice power supply, by the way, you actually remember to use it. The fervor, as well as the fact that they all have fairly short cooldowns. What are you talking about, 8 seconds? 10 seconds. 10, 9 seconds, okay? So, just use them. Feel free to, you don't have to be so...
Wood Slayer.
What, get in the tower?
It's so cheeky. I love it. You get a thumbs up from me, Witch Slayer. That was a nice little play you did there. With the sneakily getting the tower, running away and getting away with getting the stuns out and everything.
Yeah. But so yeah, just spam your skills. That's the point of Pyromancer. Whoa, this Rampage is fast as shit. Get him. Oh, he was charging. Gotcha. Didn't look like he was charging me. Maybe. That is unfortunate. There's no way we should let him get out of here.
Yeah, overextending that much is...
Yeah, okay.
For that.
We do punish him.
Oh! Nasty time Behemoth though, actually, as well, when the others jumped in.
So this is, where are you? You're over here killing Pearl. Just a bit, you should learn to prioritize more. Predators, more of a key hero to kill as opposed to Pearl. You could have stunned him and killed him on the tower. It looks like... Oh, that was a clutch Stonehide. Oh god, just barely dodged that.
He's probably gonna die anyway.
Yeah, he is.
Predators.
He's definitely fucked, but that was a clutch Stonehide. Congrats to you.
Oh,
Predators.
that was a stupid ult, man. He had like 10 HP. I hate when I see Pyros or Witch Slayers.
Oh, did he ult that Predator?
Yeah, he
Oh,
ulted.
I didn't even notice. So, yeah, that was kind of a dick move. On top of the fact that it's unnecessary. And,
So
okay.
you're trash talking about Portal Key on Jereziah, which is actually a great item on him, which I'll explain later.
Yeah, when we go over items and talk about. Just quickly, you attacked the Ancients at 47 seconds. Stack them, dude. Why would you... Like, when you're that close... I mean, I can understand some people doing it at, like, 35 or something. They don't want to wait. Fine. Okay, even though it's better to wait. But, like, 47 seconds? Wait 6 more seconds and then just stack them and kill them. There's no reason not to. So, we did complete our Grimoire. It's fine. Your items just seem a little bit weird. And then he does get a Savage Mace, so I guess I was wrong about the PK. I thought I saw it on the end there, but maybe I'm mistaken. He gets a Savage Mace too. I actually love Savage Mace on Pyromancer if you're going to go the carry route, because the Fervor with the attack speed, oh, it's beautiful to watch all those plus 100 procs. It's awesome. But of course, sorry to interrupt you, but just that is assuming you're going to be spamming your spells like I've told you you should. So if you do like you did in the last fight, where you kind of just hold your skills a lot, then I hate the Savage Mace pickup. But
what I will say is, what it looked like you did is you joined this game and you just thought, screw my team, I'm doing whatever the hell I want. And, you know, I'm not trusting these dudes, I'm going to carry them with whatever hero I see fit, and you're just playing your own game. And it worked out in the end, but it's mostly, from what I've seen, due to throws from them, just like general bad play. Like, not to say that you played badly, but the fact that you end up carrying and having a really good score, I wouldn't...
He did it again.
Too much thought into,
the
stuff like
again,
that, man.
That's just. I don't want to be a jerk, but I hate people who do that. They'll save a huge damage nuke like that until somebody's almost dead to get the kill. That is so unnecessary and not.
Just a dick move.
Yeah, it really is. And in all honesty, you did not provide anything to that team fight. You got too low because you were out of position. You were in the middle of a fight and got too low, so you couldn't actually do much. And then on top of that, you use your ultimate to steal a kill, which wasn't necessary. So this is the point you should just energize her and leave, bro. Oh no, Pebbles is here, sorry. So never mind. You should still energize her on Pebbles though, so he can get out if he needed to, but it's not a big deal. Does Grimoire...
And he was trying to use his Q to KS there as well. He was trying to wait for that as well.
Yeah, so I saw your score at the end of the game, and I thought you played well. It actually, not to be a jerk, but it seems like you're KSing quite a bit and kind of saving your nukes to get the kill. I very much so dislike people who prefer KD over winning. That really annoys me when people care about their stats so much.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly it works out. You guys still win, I think. But that, I mean, I'm assuming that based off of the numbers. But it's not nice. There's no reason to do that. And on top of that, just on a side note, it doesn't really make a huge difference, but when Blitz came up as you were killing those Ancients, it's not 100% guaranteed, but that should kind of trigger something like, oh, maybe they have a ward on our Ancients. So, just a thought, maybe if somebody wants to counter ward. I mean, nobody's been counter warding in this game, and people really haven't been warding either, but just a thought. If somebody comes up while you're there, there's at least a chance that they have an idea that you were there to begin with, so just keep that in mind. At this point, we should sell that mana battery. We don't need it anymore. We definitely want to carry a TP constantly, so yeah, okay, we sell the mana battery. I hope we're going to carry a TP. No. Okay, so what are you going to get with... What? Why'd you get a Blessed Orb? I'm confused. Maybe he's going for...
Frostwolf Skull, I guess.
Oh, I guess you could do
or
that. I was thinking Sheepstick, but...
Yeah, Sheepstick. It could be any one of those three, and any one of those three would be fine.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. The only thing is that you do need a TP, so you should... I mean, at this point in the game, 39 minutes, you need to have some type of TP, whether it's you get post-haste at this point, or sell those vestments, or whatever you decide to do, decide what is the best choice. TPs, like, especially at this point in the game, without a TP, you can literally, like, lose key buildings or team fights or whatever, and just throw games because you can't get to team fights without the TP. So it's just, I mean, I'm a big advocator of TPs. You guys, anybody who watches my stuff will know that. I love saying TP constantly, but you need to have them. So nice job nuking waves. Not that it's all that hard, but regardless, nice job. Your CK is relatively low considering your Pyromancer, though. Just keep that in mind. Your GPM's high because your kills are high, but in general, your CK is fairly low. So, let's see, what do we got? We got pretty little sight on the map. We have one ward near Kongor. That's nice, except for the Kongor's not up at the moment, so it's not super necessary to have. Not that you were the one that placed it anyways, just saying. And in general, in this team, you should probably be helping with wards a bit, so keep that in mind. We talked about how you should be playing a support role based on how the lanes were formed. You should be helping with wards too, so it's just another thing to keep in mind. Let's see, there's not really much happening. Alright, so we do have some wards put up. The ward in mid here is kind of odd placed, but it's not wrong, I guess. It's just I would have liked to see it in a different location. So it could be over here somewhere, or even if you wanted to be more aggressive, you could put it up somewhere over here so you could gank the jungle a bit. But it's okay, it's not bad. Not much happening. Just keep pushing the waves up. This is fine for you guys late game. I wouldn't necessarily say you guys have a dominant lead late game because Predator and Rampage both scale fairly well in the late game, but as well as Jeremiah is just OP all game long. But you guys certainly have a fine late game with the Pyromancer, Pebbles, and Silhouette. Yeah, so it's not bad. I do love Silhouette's items. That's nice. She's getting good items. Let's see. Since there's not really much to talk about right now, let's just quickly go over the team's items. Behemoth's items, awesome. I'm assuming he's about to get a PK with that 2100 gold. Pyromancer, or sorry, not Pyromancer, Pebbles. Pebbles got the Void Talisman too. It's okay, I guess. He got a Hellflower and PK, so I love that. And the Void Talisman's fine, I guess. Witch Slayer, yep, love the items, and Silhouette loved them. So I actually like everybody's items on this team, except for yours.
Behemoth's helm. Of the
oh yeah, no, sorry, I didn't see the helm. I hate the helm, so that's wrong. Especially when you take into account that he delayed the PK to get the helm. That makes it even more wrong. Okay, so he gets a Nullstone with it. That's awesome. I love the Nullstone pickup. Pretty much any time there is a Rampage on the enemy team, I love seeing Nullstones because Rampage is retarded.
Now you negate 2 of the single target magic damage that can affect you. You negate a lot of Rampage and Predator's effectiveness, and pretty much all of it when you take in the Void Talisman into account. So I like the combination against this particular team of the Void Talisman and Nullstone. I really like it a lot.
Yeah, I mean, you guys, you don't have much sight to see that they picked up an Invis rune, but you should be careful. Not that you can see it, I guess, but they could set this up quite a bit.
Yeah, dem dogs, man.
Yeah, and the next thing, just so you know, the next thing you need to do is sell your vestments and get your next item. And the next item should probably be, it could be a couple things, but what I would like to see is probably a sheep stick would be the best. You do get a savage mace, that's not wrong, that's fine too. I think a sheep stick would be better, but that's okay. Or you know what? I was gonna say Hellflower would be really good too. Hellflower also increases your auto attack damage quite a bit on top of the silence and perplex. So it's and the damage increase too. It's just all around awesome sauce item. I love it.
Fantastic item for all in carries.
All carries. I love it on anybody really.
It's great on everybody, but
yeah,
especially
awesome.
in carries.
Yeah. So really good team fight. You should be using your wave. You're not using Phoenix Wave. Still no Phoenix Wave. I see that you did use your Void Talisman there for a minute, so that's okay. Your Nullstone's popped. Just in general, spam your skills every time you can. And I know you've used the Void Talisman. I don't think you can cast while you're under Void Talisman.
You're disarmed.
No, you're disarmed, so you can still cast.
Yeah.
So that's not an excuse then. You should be spamming your skills. Oh, this is bad. You got cut off from half your team.
We know he's not going to die though.
Here we go, we're good. We set back up. Yeah, we know you're not going to die because you only have 2 deaths this game. So, good job, spam those skills. Spam them. There's no reason not to. The only time you should not to is when you're about to die and you need to run away, because the cast time on both of them is a bit kind of bleh. So, that's the only time. Turn around? No, you guys are dead. You should just leave. You should leave, you should not fight this. So that was a poor engagement on you guys' part. You kind of got a little bit ballsy there. You're getting a little bit to the point where you're like, oh, I'm kind of cocky. Oh.
It seems like you're kind of just waiting around at the edge of these fights, waiting to kill steal, not really doing that much.
Yeah, but to be honest, in that fight, there wasn't really much else he could have done because they just.
There was at the start.
Yeah,
he
at the start.
Spammed the skills a lot more.
Yeah, most definitely. At the start, you should have used your skills much more. And again, you're kind of saving the ultimate until you can like 100% guarantee kills. You don't need to do that, and on top of that, you don't need to use your ultimate on Pearl. Pearl should be like your last target to use the ultimate on, because it doesn't matter whether she's there or not.
He's
I mean,
also missing his skills a lot when he's using them.
yeah, there has been a couple times, well, not a couple, quite a few, where you've missed your stun as well as Dragon, Phoenix Wave, which Phoenix Wave is even less acceptable to miss because it's easier to hit. So that one makes a less sense. I can understand the stun in some cases. It's hard to hit sometimes, but in general, you need to kind of, and we say spam your skills, but make sure you're hitting them. If you're not hitting them, it's no point.
Also,
and by the way,
if you, sorry, yeah, go.
And by the way, if that Arcana is for spell shards, I don't even think we need to say how much we dislike it, but that should be a Hellflower if you're going to get that in Arcana. So, just saying.
Yeah, what I was going to say is, if you've got level 4 further and you're having trouble hitting your stun, use your ult and your wave first because it speeds up the cast animation.
That's true. That's true.
It decreases cast time as well as attack speed.
Yeah.
Increase. So there's just use your if you want to get your maximum damage off, you can initiate with your ult. Don't pussy out of initiating with your ult.
Yeah, you don't need to save it, especially once you're this high of a level because the cooldown's less than a minute. 55 seconds. Use it every time you see fit. I mean, granted, the mana cost is still kind of significant, but I mean,
with the items he's got now, that's not a big deal.
Yeah, especially if you get a Hellflower or even a Spell Shards give some mana regen. You should have no problem just going to town with your ultimate. You know what I mean? Feel free, be very, just kind of whatever you want. It's an awesome ability. It's very similar to the Witch Slayer in the fact that it does a lot of damage, and at level 3 it has quite a low cooldown. So feel free, what I will say is Silhouette at this point should have more items, so that's part of the reason why you guys lost that team fight. I was not watching Pebbles, but this is way too ballsy. Not with the words they have, holy shit. And you're never going to get away from Jeremiah. It's not going to happen, so yeah, he's dead, and it looks like Witch Slayer's dead too, so way too ballsy. You guys don't have the words to be that aggressive.
Witch missed his stun.
Did he? I didn't notice at the end, but it doesn't make a much difference. What you should do, since you know there's 3 of them top, you should take their ancients real quick. Well, I guess it doesn't matter, because I can see they only have 1 tiny little health agent anyways, but in general, if you know they're not around to stop you, feel free to take their creep camps or such.
Another thing you can do is, if you've got TP on you and you see them all in one area, you look at their items, see if they've got TPs, and then go and push a lane. Because if they've got a kill and they're going to plan on pushing after they've got a kill, and you see they don't have any TPs, and you start going and pushing their base, it's going to force them to back off or make a trade that they don't want to make. Plus, you can TP back to defend if the base gets low.
Yeah, and on top of that, when they get a kill, usually you can't defend your base anyways 4v5 in late game situations. Not all the time, there are cases you can, but in general, a lot of the time you just can't defend it, so you're better off to do what you can make the most use of and try and trade effectively. It's just, in general, that applies to a lot of heroes, not just, Pyromancer and such. Oh, free kill, Jeremiah. Nice job, there you go, very good job. Jeremiah being stupid as usual. There was no reason to do that by himself, he's Jeremiah.
Oh, Behemoth.
Again with the lack of sight around Kongor. That's twice now that they've gotten a free Kongor with no...
Did you see Behemoth?
No, I missed it, what happened?
After Pyro had killed Jeremiah, Behemoth portal keyed in and ulted.
He did? Maybe a bit of lag there, I don't know. Okay, so that's a couple things. We have 2650 saved up. I imagine, with that much gold saved up, we're going for a Hellflower, and you're just saving it in case you need to buy back. That's a good choice, since you don't have any space anyways. There's no reason to buy your items. Nice free kill on Pearl. You should wait for yellow before you start pushing this, though. I would be very cautious until yellow gets here. Yes, very good job. I'm loving it. You're using your stuns, using your abilities. I love it. Don't be scared.
Where's your ult? Just use your ult.
He's got magic immune. But, I mean, you could use it on somebody else, I guess. You could use it on Blitz. Same thing. It's got a minute cooldown. Have no fear in using your ultimate. There's no reason to delay it, really. This is way too far. You should back off. Just because you're winning the team fight doesn't mean you should get ballsy. Especially when you're kind of only you and Silhouette. You should just kind of stay back. I disagree with Silhouette's shield breaker, but we can talk about that at the end. you used the Void Talisman. Actually, didn't even know when you used it. Nice job. Just getting... There you go. Very good job. You landed your stun. Hit your wave. Again, still no ultimate, which is kind of disappointing. Use the ultimate. Even if you can't use it on Predator, use the ultimate on somebody. Anybody.
You get attack speed, just ult someone.
I don't understand, man. Use the ultimate. Like, I guess what you're doing is waiting, save it for a kill, but don't. Just use the ultimate. Kill somebody. There's no reason to you have to get the kill. There you go. Used ultimate on Predator. Did he buy back, by the way? He must have bought back. No, he didn't. He got away. Yeah. Oh, he had the token. Yeah. That makes sense. Good job getting the racks. You guys don't need to go back. Pebbles is actually going back unnecessarily. He could have just kept pushing. There's nobody up to kill him anyways.
Yeah.
Where are we teleporting? Why did we do that? Okay, I guess whatever. It's not a big deal. It's fine. You can go back.
Why would you not just take the base?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys could actually kill the Nexus. Or, well... Nexus. Too much League of Legends. You could have certainly
I kind of don't want to talk to you anymore.
You could have certainly come close to it. But sorry.
Or you could have got bot racks easy.
Yeah, you could have taken another Rax. That's what I would have said. You could have had anybody tank it. The towers don't really affect any of you that much anymore. But you could have had anybody
It doesn't matter
tank the
if you're
towers.
tanking a lot of damage from the towers. They were all dead for 50 seconds.
That's true. So
like, who's gonna kill you?
the only thing is that you have to be very careful when you're looking at the timers. Make sure you don't stay too long, and they all respawn and kill you guys, because that you can seriously throw games. Yeah, and keep in mind of buybacks too. A lot of the time, people will just like, oh, they're dead. I don't need to worry about anything. Well, and then they buy back and like genocide you. So sad face.
It is one of my pet peeves though when I see people back off because it's like, oh, I'm low. It's like, yeah, but they're all dead. Like, it doesn't matter if you're low because no one's gonna kill you.
I will say that was a pretty good intuition on your part right there, using the Energizer and backing off at like the right time there on top lane. I imagine it's just a bit intuition because you didn't have any wards, so maybe you saw them kind of walking up there. Witch Slayer, whoa, buddy.
7k gold, like Savage Mace.
Oh, Witch Slayer. Yeah, he buys a Savage Mace. Oh, he sold the... Did he sell that? I'm confused.
The Arcana, I don't know.
What the hell? I'm so confused right now. So he sold the Arcana to get a Savage Mace.
I don't know. He could have got... I don't think so, because he had enough gold to just get the Savage Mace anyway.
Yeah, but where could he have put the Arcana otherwise? He didn't go back to base yet, so he must have sold it.
Sold it. Don't do that. That's stupid.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. You should have just gone for the Hellflower and then sold the Energizer and got a Savage Mace if you wanted to do that. At this point, Energizer isn't worth the slot that it's taking up. You know, feel free to sell it for a better item. So it's just that's odd. Don't sell your items like that. Even if you change your mind, I mean, you don't change your mind. Like, you didn't need to do that. Hellflower would have been just as good. That was unnecessary. It's not a huge deal. You guys win regardless, but just in general, that's kind of stupid. Don't do that.
I think you submitted this replay probably because you thought, because of your score, you played really, really well, but you didn't play badly by any means. And it does kind of feel like we've been hating on you a bit this game.
You did play selfishly, though.
Yeah, that's the exact words I was going to use.
You played a bit like, I mean, and what I will say is, if you have fun doing this, then the game's about having fun, right? You know, but, I mean, to an extent, if you're trying to improve, this isn't the way to do it. Just getting high scores and high kills is not the way to do it. Very nice use of your Void Talisman as soon as Rampage came into focus. You very nice job. I love that. I will say that. That was a really good job. It was, like, perfect timing, too. And now that it's 3v5, this is game over. You guys win the game.
He just ulted Pearl to try and KS and didn't even get the kill.
Did he? Okay, so we'll talk about that in summary, but I mean, this is just, in general, this is not how you improve. If this is how you have fun, then sure, man, more power to you, but this is not a game that shows your skill. This is a game that, like, shows you trolling, pretty much. Like, I mean, I know, like Taddy said, we're kind of, like, hating on you, but it's just, like, this is not very well played. That's what I will say.
Predator's all in. He just bought a Savage Mace.
Dude, I saw that in his items. But the weird thing is, I think he was planning on buying a Savage Mace to begin with. He was just, I'll talk about it at the end, but his items are odd to begin with, in all honesty.
Who's Fred's?
Yeah, I mean, it's not terrible, it's just weird. The infamous, I'm gonna sit in the well. Nice job with that Void Talisman on. It's always funny when you see people jump in with a Void Talisman and troll like that, because the well does physical damage for anybody who doesn't know. Yeah, so there's game over. Okay, so a lot to talk about. So first of all, your summary. So we talked about your items a bit. We'll talk about it again in a second, but we usually go over gameplay first. So gameplay-wise, feel free to rewatch. There were a number of cases where we commented on it. You played very selfishly, not to be rude about it. You cared way too much about what appeared to be you caring about your KD anyways, as opposed to winning the game. There were a number of cases you saved your ultimate when it wasn't necessary. I'm not sure if you were saving it for the kills or saving it just because you weren't paying attention to use it. Either way, though, use it more often. So feel free, especially, and we talked about it throughout the game, but once it's level 3, such a short cooldown, use the ultimate. Use it whenever you want, you know?
I will also mention something here is that like your mentality behind it was like I'm owning, I'm doing really well, I don't know what these guys are criticizing me for and stuff, but the fact is, if their team had been good, then the fact that you were playing the way you were playing probably would have contributed to losing the game.
Yeah.
And it's not a reflection of you playing well that you got a good score, it's a reflection of the other team throwing when they were ahead and generally playing poorly.
Yeah, because at the beginning, the Legion team, or the Hellborn team was ahead by 7-something K gold and experience, you know? So there was a point where the game looked grim for you guys. Now, obviously, that's not the case. You guys won, but it certainly didn't look that way at the beginning. And on top of that, your lanes were kind of odd to begin with.
Your laning phase was terrible. I don't want to sugarcoat that at all. I'm sorry, but your laning phase was terrible. You should have been giving the farm Silhouette. Obviously, it worked out for you in the end, but as we've already mentioned,
yeah.
I wouldn't take too much credit for that.
Yeah, the only thing,
the way you're playing.
The only credit I will give you for it is that I understand not wanting to trust your team to do their jobs properly. Okay, I get that. You know, I play 1,500 games all the time, and I totally understand when you're like, oh, this guy wants to play carry, okay, I'll support him, and then you support him, and he can't farm and doesn't know the right items to get, and he can't play, and then you lose because you don't have a carry. So I understand. Maybe that was your reasoning behind it. I get it, but it just comes down to whether you want to play right or you want to take the chance of playing wrong, and if the enemy team is competent, you're not going to win. Like, if the enemy team had played this right, you wouldn't have won based on how you guys played. You just wouldn't have. But, I mean, you know, you did win. The enemy team kind of made a number of mistakes, which we'll talk about a bit because I have a couple in mind, but it's just odd. So gameplay-wise, just a tiny little summary of that. Use your skills more often. There were a couple cases where you just delayed all of them, your skills as well as your ultimate. Use them more often. Last hitting, you need to decide which role you're going to play, in which case in this case, you need it to be a support. Sorry, but that's just how it is. Maybe you don't have fun playing support, but it is what it is. I personally don't enjoy playing support, but when I need to play support, I play support. It's just how it works. You need to designate your roles easier. You should probably have set up the lanes a bit better. I honestly didn't like the lanes to begin with. I would have done Silhouette Behemoth, Pyromancer, Solo Mid, and then Pebbles Witchslayer. Those all seem like pretty good lanes to me. I'm not sure why you didn't, but in which case you could have played the way you wanted to. You could have played as a carry or a ganker as opposed to a support, because you would have been Solo Mid. And then your Pebbles as well as Silhouette presumably would have still gotten good farm. So, I mean, I'm not sure why you didn't do that, but maybe there was a little bit of conflict. Maybe two people wanted to go together or something like that. I'm not sure. But so anyways, so lanes, your gameplay, your positioning wasn't that bad. There was once in mid lane where you were too far up and you took too much damage, and then you couldn't really do much for the rest of the fight. So I was a bit disappointed in that. But other than that, your positioning was okay for most of the time throughout the fight. Now, granted, you could have had much better positioning had you got a PK, but we'll talk about that when we get to the items. Anything else? Let's see. Your farm in general, it wasn't terrible, but as Pyromancer, if you're going to play as a farmer, as a carry, as a ganker, as a whatever, your farm should be higher. So your two abilities let you nuke waves like crazy, so 277 at 54 minutes isn't really isn't really great. It's not bad. It's just it's not where you should be by any means. I think that's all for gameplay wise. Any other tips for gameplay?
I think we pretty much covered it.
Okay. All right. So your gameplay is good, assuming you fix those. Your mechanics are actually all right. So don't get me wrong. Your last hitting capability isn't bad and things like that. You understand that. You understand to carry a TP. For most of the game, you had a TP. I will give you that. When it got past like 30, 35 minutes, you kind of started to stop carrying one. I'm not sure why. 'Cause TPs are valuable all throughout the game, but just keep that in mind. Onto your items. Okay. So I think I personally disagree with all of your items with the exception of the Savage Mace and the Nullstone.
The talisman.
Well, so yes, but I disagree with when he got it. So
Yeah, should have got PK first.
So here's how you should have built, in my opinion, and then you can play it a bit deviations-wise. If you're going to play, this is like a carry Pyromancer kind of build, not a support Pyromancer build, which you should have gone. Carry kind of ganker Pyromancer build, you get Steam Boots. I would usually complete the Steam Boots before I get my PK, just because you need the stats and you need the mana, and on top of that, the movement speed and attack damage and all that is really helpful too. But so you needed Steam Boots, not Ghost Marchers really. Even if you went Ghost Marchers, though, sorry, I just hit my mic, but even if you went Ghost Marchers, though, it's okay. It's not great. It's unnecessary, but if you went Ghost Marchers...
If you want to go Ghost Marchers, at least get a Grave Locket for the stats.
Yeah. So you should have started with the same starting items. That's fine. Just change the Duck Boots to a Mark of the Novice. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mark of the Novice, and then go for a Grave Locket as opposed to the Energizer. So... what I would have done is gone Steam Boots, and I actually would have completed the Steam Boots probably, but maybe I would have gotten the Grave Locket before I completed the Steam Boots. It kind of depends on how...
farm.
Yeah, it depends on how well you're doing and such. Usually, if you're doing better, you can complete the Boots before the Grave Locket. If you're doing worse, then you need more stats, so you would complete the Grave Locket before the Steam Boots. It's just how it works. It's not a huge deal either way. So then you would have those two items. And again, we talked about the order. It depends on how you're doing. So you get those two items. Then you would go PK directly after that. Unless you needed Mystic Vestments, but in this game, it wasn't necessary. Mystic Vestments would go in between there if you needed them. So you didn't need Mystic Vestments in this game, though. So PK directly after that, and you should have rushed it at all costs if you're going to play this way, which you did play this way. So PK directly after that. Then you can kind of branch off into one of a couple different builds. If you need a bit more survivability, you can go for the Nullstone. If you need more damage, you can go Hellflower, you can go Savage Mace.
Sheepstick as well.
Sheepstick is a very viable item. You could even go Grimoire of Power if you wanted to do that. It's not wrong. It's a fine item, I guess. It increases your damage, gives you a bit of mana regen, and the stats are nice too. It's all fine. And the Seer is cool too. So it's not wrong. It's fine. It's a fine item. You can get that if you want. I personally would have gone Nullstone next because of the Rampage and Predator. The Nullstone really shuts those heroes down quite well. And then
or after PK, just get the Void Talisman. I think that was a really good pickup, and you used it appropriately. So I will say good job on that part, at least.
So, but what I would have done is I would have probably gotten a Nullstone. I probably would have skipped the Void Talisman, but Void Talisman is totally fine in this game. I would have just skipped it because of how you weren't really dying all that often, and if you play it right, you don't really need to die all that often. So I don't think it's super necessary if you position yourself correctly, but it's totally fine if you want to get that. If you have a little bit of doubt or something along those lines, or you think you're getting focused too much, that's totally fine. And on top of that, the Nullstone, it stops them from being able to get close to you. Like, in all honesty, Rampage and Predator have no ability that can get them close to you other than their single target charge and or leap. So if you have a Nullstone, in theory, they shouldn't be able to get close to you. But so I would have gotten Nullstone, and then I probably would have gotten a Hellflower after that. And then if the game is still going on, I probably would have got Savage Mace.
Or Frostwolf Skull works very well with Pyro, because how quickly you can stack up the stacks on the slab.
Or Frostwolf Skull. I probably wouldn't have gotten Grimoire Power just because it's not really my kind of play style. Because you have to be close enough for the Seer to take its effect.
I also dislike... I dislike it for the same reason as Spell Shards. I like it more than Spell Shards, but I dislike it for the same reason in that you can get a CC item which is going to allow you to do essentially the same amount of damage because of the amount of time you're going to be able to CC them for, or the added damage from Hellflower, etc. Like, I would prefer to see the CC items on an in carry rather than the Grimoire's not a bad item, but if you're going to get it on an in carry, I like it as like a last item.
Yeah, I don't really like it just because the seer, the range isn't all that big, so you have to be close. And when I play intelligence carries, I really play kind of passively in the back where I'm not like the initiator. I kind of sit back and just kind of pick people off and do some damage and all that. But if that's the way you like to play, it's not a bad item. You can still make it work and all that. It's just not really my play style. But so yeah, so that would have been my build, and the game probably would have been over by then. But if the game's not over by then, sell the Grave Locket and get a better item. You could get Grimoire of Power, you could get Sheepstick, you could get blah blah blah. All kinds of things. The list goes on and on. But so items that you shouldn't get on Pyromancer that you did. So you should not get an Energizer. There's no need to.
Not on top of the Ghost Marches as well.
Yeah, so even if you want to get that, if that's like your play style, fine. I don't like it, and I don't think it's necessary. But hey, if that's the way you want to go, you don't need Ghost Marchers and the Energizer. It's too much mobility, too much money invested into movement speed. You know what I mean? It's nice. Don't get me wrong. Everybody likes running around at max movement speed, but it's just not necessary to survive.
Overkill.
Yeah, it's overkill. It'd be like it's like. And we've talked about it before. There have been games where people just get pure damage, and it's not the way you should go because it's too much invested into one thing. You're not all around good enough to do what you need to do. So that's one item I don't think you should have gotten in this game, and probably in any game. I would dislike an Energizer in him, but I mean it's not. You could certainly have done worse. Other than that, your items aren't wrong. The rest of them you can make work on him, with the exception I think the Ghost Marchers would have been better as Steam Boots, and we've talked about it. I don't think there's any case I would have gotten Steam Boots.
Yeah.
I mean, Ghost Marchers, rather. Sorry.
Yeah.
But other than that, you didn't play poorly. It's okay. Just play a bit less selfishly. Feel free to spam your skills more. You know what I mean? Play more as a team player, and you'll win more games, I think. Because overall, you played okay. It's just that you weren't. Your positioning was fine and all that. It's just that you were kind of selfish. You kind of cared more about your KD than winning the game.
Yeah, to be honest, your attitude is the main problem in that game rather than your gameplay or even your item build.
Yeah, but so other than that, that's pretty much all there is. You still finished fine. I mean, granted, your GPM and all that was good because you were stealing kills, I think. And I mean, granted, some of them were you. Some of them you did. I'm not going to take credit away. You still played well. You still did assist in getting a number of kills, but it certainly wasn't.
Using the ults on people with 100 HP is just... It's plain bad. Stop doing it. It's bad.
Yeah, and there was at least 2 cases of that, but maybe even more that I didn't catch. But it just comes down to, play like a team, man. It's a team game, so play like a team. Starting from the list, going down. Well, actually, we'll do CK first. So CK, everybody on the Legion team was okay, except for Pebbles and Witch Slayer. So Pebbles, you should have had probably at least 200, probably 250 or more, though. Just all things considered, considering how Pebbles plays, and he has the ability to farm and all that. And Witch Slayer, I know you did quite... not to say poorly, because you were supporting and all that, I get that, but you probably should have had still at least like 100 CK, maybe. I mean, I guess you did kind of poorly. 7 deaths, though, is not enough to warrant that you had no time to farm, you know what I mean? So you still could have picked up a few CK here and there. And I didn't watch you, so I wasn't paying attention to the times where you weren't farming when you should have. But in general, 23 CK at 54 minutes isn't acceptable on anybody, even hard supports. It's not acceptable. But CK-wise, that's everybody. Starting from, well, I'll do the Hellborn team too. So CK-wise, let's see, Pearl, Blitz. Pearl is okay, I guess. I would have liked to see a bit more, but that's okay, I guess. And then
was playing support, so
yeah, 100's okay at 54 minutes if you're supporting, but it's not great. Blitz, you didn't build support, so that's not okay. You can play Blitz as a support, that's fine. But you weren't building as a support, so you should have had more CK than that. Probably something... Blitz doesn't really have all that potential to farm because of his abilities, unfortunately. So, I don't know, something like 150 to 200 at least would be what I would like to see at a 54-minute game. I mean, especially you should have had more than Jeraziah. I mean, come on. So that's not acceptable. Jeraziah, that's fine. It's a good CK, I guess. I would have liked to see like 150 plus, especially since you have the heal and a ring, so you should have been able to farm a little better, but it's okay. Rampage and... Okay, so Rampage, you probably should have had 250 to 300, but that's okay. 234 is fine. Predator, you should have had more than that because you built an Alchemist Bones at some point. And also, by the way, you sold the Alchemist Bones. when you still had space. So I'm guessing you sold the Alchemist Bones to get that Savage Mace at the end to troll a bit. I'm not 100% sure really. But the Alchemist Bones would have helped use the Savage Mace with the plus 100 proc, but what do I know? I don't know. That's just. I mean, we'll talk about your items, but that's just. You should have had more CK than that probably if you were going to be farming. Which you built the Alchemist Bones, so you're indicating that you are going to farm throughout the game if you build Alchemist Bones. Okay, so that applies to everybody. Pebbles. I love your items. The only thing, I may have not gone the Elder Parasite. I'm not against it. I'm on the fence. I would have liked to see you. Well, what I would have liked to see is not the Elder Parasite and not the Void Talisman, and instead, with that money, you could have started working towards a Sheepstick. I would have liked to see that. That would have been good.
Or a Bulwark.
Yeah, Bulwark.
They needed one on the team, and
yeah,
Pebbles
actually, I didn't notice that.
Actually.
I didn't notice that. Actually, you should have definitely been the one to build the Soul's Bulwark. So, just keep that in mind. But other than that, your items aren't bad, and you went solo mid. And we've talked about the Ghost Marchers versus Steam Boots thing. Taddy says you need the stats. If you're going to get an early PK, I would agree, but you didn't really have free farm, so I'm okay getting Ghost Marchers as opposed, because by the time you had the PK, you had the stats to use your combo and all that.
But on any mana-intensive heroes, if you're not going Steam Boots, if you're going to go Ghost Marchers, you need some cheap stats early, like a Grave Locket, and you went straight for Bottle Ghost Marchers PK, which I disagree with. You need at least some stats, really.
What I would have liked is not necessarily a Grave Locket, but you could have gone a Nullstone too, and that would have been fine. A Nullstone, again, you, Silhouette, and Pyromancer, any of the three of you, and the other two actually did, all three of you would have been acceptable to get a Nullstone on, so that's totally fine if you had gone Nullstone too. It gives you the regen, as well as the fact that they have single targets that are fairly key. So, but, I mean, you didn't. It worked out. I disagree with your last two items, but, I mean, again, the Void Talisman against a Rampage, we talked about it, it really, you can't go wrong with it. It's just not, it's not the
and
best
Predator as well.
Yeah, and Predator too, although I believe, and I'm not 100%, I'll actually check real quick, I thought his Carnivorous proc was magic damage.
His Carnivorous,
no, physical
he
damage.
can't auto-attack you.
Yeah.
He can't auto-attack you anyway, so it doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah, oh, that's true, I hadn't thought about that, you're right, but it is physical damage regardless. But, so yeah, your items are okay. Behemoth, your items are fine, the only thing is that the helm was unnecessary, you delayed your PK, and on top of that, you don't really need a helm on him. I get that you wanted some regen, I understand that, honestly, I hate playing, supports like Behemoth especially because you can't really build any regen early on, so you have to go back to the base a lot. It's kind of unfortunate. I totally see your points, but it's still not right, so it's unfortunate, but you should have rushed the PK after your ring probably. Striders are totally fine on him. After the PK, you could go the Frostfield Plate if that's the way you want to go. That's fine. I would have liked to see more like hard CC items. Like the Frostfield Plate isn't quite as expensive as a Sheepstick, I don't think.
No, it's not. It's cheaper.
Yeah, but it is still close. 4,700. It's close to a Sheepstick. I think Sheepstick's like about 5K, 54 maybe, something like that.
It's 56, I think.
56. Okay, so about a K off. So it's not so much longer, but I mean, I would have liked a Sheepstick instead, and especially had you not gotten that helm, you would have had the extra gold to get the Sheepstick. So it's not a huge deal. It's just, and I get that you want the.
Frostfield works well with his ult as well with the PK. It's a nice little synergy sort of thing. Either's fine in my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't like the helm.
Yeah, the helm is unnecessary. If you wanted a bit more regen, what you can do if you're dying too much, which you actually weren't dying all that much, man, but if you do die a lot and you need the more regen, you can get like a Fortified Bracer because it builds into useful items on top of that. So if you had gone a Fortified Bracer and delayed your PK a bit because of that, that's okay with me because that builds into a Astrolabe. So it's
not
okay.
That you would have got one with Witch Slayer already having one, but still.
Yeah, of course. But I mean, had Witch Slayer not gotten one, or even, you know what, even if you're not going to get the Astrolabe, I'm actually still okay with the Fortified Bracer if you're just dying too much, which you weren't, but if you are, it's okay. You just need the stats, because the problem with the PK is that it costs a lot of money and there's no pieces to it, so you have to save it up. If you're dying too much, you're never going to get there, so I'm fine getting a bit of stat items if you're just dying too much, but you didn't, so the helm doesn't make any sense. Well, it makes sense, it's just not right. Witch Slayer. So I love all your items, the only problem is... Well, no, it's not a problem, but you got a Mana Tube, so I'm assuming that's for a Storm Spirit, would be my guess.
Could even be a Sheepstick eventually.
Yeah, but my thought with the Sheepstick is that his GPM's too low to ever get the money, like save up the money to get the Sheepstick.
Or a Nullstone.
Yeah, or a Nullstone, that would be fine too. I would prefer a Storm Spirit, but an Nullstone works as well. Other than that, though, your items are actually fine. You know, I love the Astrolabe, the Striders, the Mystic Vestments are unnecessary, I think, but it's okay, I guess. And then the TP. You had a TP, I love it. I wasn't actually paying too much attention to your play, but what I can say is that you don't have enough CK, so somewhere along the line you must have been wasting time or doing something that was unnecessary. So, okay, so I love Silhouette's items up to, like, everything except for the Shield Breaker. I'm not against Shield Breaker on her, although I do like the Frostwolf Skull route better, but especially against melee carries. But I'm not against the Shield Breaker. I just, Savage Mace would have been so much better at that point if you had gotten a Savage Mace. And the level 3 Shield Breaker, and I'm not actually sure what level that was, but the level 3 Shield Breaker is about the same cost as the Savage Mace anyways. It's not the same, but it's close. So, I mean, at that point, you can almost get the Savage Mace anyways.
What I will say about her items is I like all of them, but the order she got them in, no.
I am kind of curious. I know she got the Geos first, I believe.
Geos,
and then
it was
Nullstone.
when Geos, Nullstone, Shieldbreaker, Portal Key.
Oh, so she
it
got
was-
she got the Portal Key last.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought she got the Portal Key before the Shield Breaker. Okay,
Nope.
in that case, then the Portal Key at that point, it's not worth it. Don't get it. It doesn't make any sense to get it at 50 minutes. It's just stupid. Like,
Go for a later game item like a Savage Mace or Ginjuro.
yeah, either of those would have been fine. It just doesn't make any sense. Yeah. So we already talked about Pyromancer. Down to the Hellborn team. Okay, so Pearl. Your items are actually fine. I love them all. I haven't played
Need
Pearl.
investments though.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So everybody in the Hellborn team should have had investments at some point. And on top of that, I don't play Pearl, so I don't know if she's super mana intensive or not. So I'm not sure if the Blood Chalice is necessary or not.
She is reasonably mana intensive. She's got short cooldown on her skills, and she does kind of want to spam them.
Okay.
I'm personally not a fan of Blood Chalice on almost anyone. Parasite is one of the few exceptions, especially not squishy in support.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I prefer to just see like a power supply and build up some in items after that, like a tablet and like a Storm Spirit, etc., and just slowly build up. I don't think
Yeah.
that the what is it that you get? It's you lose 150 HP and gain how much mana? It's
about
like
the
80
same.
or something. It's really low for what
85.
it is. Yeah, it's it's not an efficient item on many heroes.
Yeah. Yeah, so other than that, though, the rest of it's fine. It appears as though that was for that counter ward was for a, or the rev was for a counter warding, not for detection, which is fine. Counter warding's fine.
Yep.
And although what I will say is there were a couple times when the Hellborn team did not have max wards out, so if you're going to be counter warding, you should probably have your own wards maxed out first. That's just my thought. But other than that, it's fine. Blitz, I like the Energizer. I like the boots.
Yeah. I like the vestments.
Yeah, vestments
And
are
then I
fine
don't
too.
like the shroud or the ice brow.
Yeah, so I don't play Blitz because I don't really like the hero to begin with. But if I were going to play Blitz, I probably wouldn't go, and I'm assuming that's for a Frostburn or maybe a Frostwolf Skull, I guess. But I probably wouldn't go either of those. I'm okay with the Shroud, although I don't really like that either. What I probably would do is more like crowd control kind of items. I would probably play Blitz more as like a kind of a supporty, not necessarily like a pure
Secondary
support.
support.
Yeah, like a secondary support kind of crowd control hero. So what I like the Energizer, I like the boots. That's fine. If you want to go that's okay because it helps your team. But then after that, I probably would have gotten like Tablet of Command, Storm Spirit, Hellflower maybe, if that's the way you want to go.
Storm Spirit's great on him because it
yeah.
gives movement speed as well, which is what he works off.
And then, okay, so before I talk about anything else on him, the hatchet makes no sense.
He probably just picked that up in the well by accident.
Oh, you
when
know
it
what?
was the end of
Actually,
the game.
you're correct. Actually, that's definitely what happened. But regardless, I mean, I guess okay. So in that case, regardless though, that spot should have been for a TP. So you don't have a TP on you. I'm not sure if you never had TPs on you throughout the game or what, but you don't have a TP.
I think we should probably let him off that one because it was probably just while they were getting killed in the base. So he obviously didn't have a TP. He probably just right clicked on the floor and picked up someone else's hatchet from earlier.
Just in general though.
Yeah.
And also in general, I haven't seen one of these in a long time, but just in general, hatchet on a ranged hero doesn't make any sense. So for anybody watching who's a true beginner, don't get hatchet on any ranged hero. It's never logical. The only one you can get it on, if you so desire, is Wild Soul, but you put it on his bear. Don't put it on him.
I've seen some people make arguments for it, but I'm not convinced by any
Yeah.
of them. Like, I've seen some people put on Soul Stealer first to get like the first couple of last hits, but it's just, I don't know.
No, it just doesn't make sense to me.
Doesn't convince me.
But yeah, so we talked about it. Good crowd control items instead, man. I don't like him as a carry, really. He just doesn't work. Not as well as other carries, anyways. And even as a semi-carry, he's kind of gimped compared to others.
He works as a ganker and
Yeah.
does a lot of burst, and then you want CC because he doesn't do any sustained
Yeah,
damage.
but even as a ganker, you really build burst. I mean, you really build CC damage, like CC items that have a little bit of damage too. You don't really build like Shroud. That's just kind of weird. Okay, Jeraziah. So I'm fine with all your items. The only thing is the Beast Heart kind of throws me for a loop a bit. I'm guessing that was for a heart. I don't think it was a helm that late. That would be kind of weird. I don't really like heart on Jeraziah only because you don't really build him as a tank. You build him as you build him as kind of like a support, like team helper. You know what I mean? So what I would have liked to see is you could have finished a Barrier Idol. That would have been fine.
I was about to say that.
You could have even gone Frostfield Plate if you wanted. You could have gone, a couple other...
Sheepstick.
Yeah, Sheepstick's totally fine. The heart kind of throws me for a loop there. The only other thing I would comment on is I'm fine with PK on him. That works fine. Just that you have to make sure you use it correctly. It's kind of... when you see people get it, because some of the guides say to get it, when you see people get it on Jeraziah, they don't usually use it correctly is the only thing. It's not...
The thing is, people get it because they see it in competitive games, and the reason that people get Portal Key on Jeraziah, it's a great item on him, but the reason is because they have organised teams, and what you use it for is it means that because Jeraziah's skills are so powerful, he's so annoying to deal with, and he stops people dying, and he turns around team fights, it means you can sit ridiculously far back.
Yeah.
And if your team gets initiated on, if people start getting busted down, PK in, heal, charm, ult, and you've saved them and probably turned the team fight around, or at least made them the enemy team back off completely.
Yeah.
Put them on the back foot.
The biggest
and waste a
problem-
lot of skills.
The biggest reason you get it is because Jeraziah gets focused because he's Jeraziah, okay? If you don't have a PK, you can position yourself correctly still. It's just a little bit harder and delays you a bit more, but if you're not positioned correctly as Jeraziah, if they jump on you and kill you before you can get off your skills, that can literally cost your team the game or team fights or anything drastically huge, because Jeraziah is so important to team fights when you pick up that hero. Every one of his abilities just screams team fights. It's key. You can't... That's the reason you get it. It's a similar concept behind... Not the same exact concept, but a similar concept behind Silhouette getting it, in that you can kind of... you can use Silhouette's PK in a couple different ways, but usually you would use it kind of like sit back so you don't get initiated on, but then when the team fight happens, you jump in and do a whole bunch of damage with your... I don't know the name of it, but those spikes and all the salvo procs and all kinds of stuff. But so that's the reason you get it. I wasn't watching Jeraziah to see if he was using it correctly or not, but just in general, if you're going to get it on Jeraziah, make sure you use it correctly. Rampage. So I don't like your items, but they're not really wrong. I like
the Elder Parasite, which is horrible.
Yeah, I like the boots are fine. You always get those boots on Rampage because movement speed makes them do more damage. I like the TP. I like the Shrunken Head. They have plenty of stuns and magic damage to make it worth it. The helm is fine too if you want to go that far. That's okay. After the helm, though, I would probably get a Frostburn on him. The movement speed is awesome. The slow is awesome. The strength and agility are both awesome on him. And I believe that's all it gives you. But it's a phenomenal item on him. You could also, he didn't get Mystic Vestments. You definitely needed Vestments at some point.
You don't need a helm and a heart.
Yeah, granted, he had the heart too, and he didn't really die all that much. But I don't really like tank Rampage. It's just I like him more as like a carry, kind of like a damage dealer.
The heart's great on him because of the fact that it buffs his base damage, which is really nice as well. But you don't need a heart and a helm and a Shrunken Head.
Yeah, he's talked about it before. He likes to break up the helm. He being Tatty Jangles. He likes to break up the helm and then use the Beast Heart from that to make the heart if you're going to go that route, and then sell the tube and shield, or or you can keep them and whatever. Yeah, get a Nullstone or whatever. But he doesn't like having them both. I don't like having them both when you're getting low on space. So in some cases, and the case that I can think of at the moment, and probably one of the only cases, is Raw. If you're going to get them both, because usually Raw gets a heart fairly early, that would be one of the few cases I'm okay with having them both. But even still, I don't think it's necessary to have them both. The Shrunken Head is definitely a good pickup, though. And then the Elder Parasite is just weird. So my thought maybe is that he thought maybe the Horned Strike goes down with each attack, the cooldown of it, which it doesn't. So I don't think it does, anyways.
No, it doesn't. It's on a timer.
Yeah,
like
because I know
Gladiator's whip.
like Scout's Disarm does. So getting attack speed items on him makes sense, but it doesn't
No,
really.
not anymore. I told you this. It's on a timer now. They changed it.
No, they didn't, bro. I
They
play
definitely
Scout.
changed it.
I play Scout all the time. I'm almost positive you're wrong.
It's
But-
it's no longer based on
No, it's not based on it, but it does still do it. It has a timer on top of the fact that every attack you do also decreases the cooldown by 1 second.
Oh,
So it has
okay,
it has a default timer of, I don't know, 10 seconds or whatever. But then on top of that, each time you attack, it lowers the cooldown by 1 second. So, and I have yet to read patch notes that say that's changed, but I haven't played Scout in a little while, so maybe I'll take your word for it. I don't know. But regardless, though, I'm almost positive Rampage is not the same. So
No, it's not. It's the same as his passive works the same as Gladiator's
yeah,
whip.
so it's just
on the
cooldown.
time.
Okay.
thing.
So then that doesn't really make any sense. If it did, I could at least see your idea behind it a bit, but it doesn't. So that doesn't really make sense. Even if you want to get lifesteal, that's just kind of weird to go for the Elder Parasite, man. I mean, I guess the movement speed is the idea behind it. I believe it gives you 20%. Yeah, 20% movement speed. But I mean, at that point, you're probably getting pretty close to capping out on your movement speed when you have your movement speed like stealing thing. I don't remember the name of it. Your boots and this going. Like once you cap your movement speed, there's no point in getting more movement speed items because you can't go higher than, I think it's 544 or something like that. But so it just doesn't make any sense. Predator. So I play Predator quite frequently. He's one of my favorite heroes. I don't like any of your items, man. I like the boots. The boots are fine. And I like the Demonic Breastplate. I just don't like it as your first item. So he rushed a Demonic Breastplate, okay? And that's not wrong. It's just not right. So this is the way I would build Predator. I go boots first, and then depending on how well or poorly I'm doing, if I'm doing good, I'll, kind of, if I see that the game's probably, that we're not going to let the game go past, 25, 30 minutes or whatever, I'll get an Insanitarius next. Because Insanitarius is great for short games and for Malakin, because Malakin's OP. But if I'm doing poorly or the game is going to be lasting longer than that, usually I would go probably for Frostburn. Some people go Shieldbreaker. They like to go the damage route. Predator. I like to go more tanky, like kind of a tanky damage dealer a bit. So I go Frostburn after that into Soul's Bulwark, and then if I don't need some other item like I don't know, I can't think of any at the moment, but then I would go Demonic Breastplate after that. That's okay. Usually by that point the game's over because most of the time I end up getting a Insanitarius and the game I'm not planning on letting the game go that long. If you're planning on letting the game go for long, Insanitarius isn't the best choice just because it doesn't really help as much when you get to the later game. It's not as big of a difference anymore.
What an interesting thing to do on a lot of strength carries. I don't know if I've mentioned this before. I can't remember. But if you go for a Whispering Helm, and then you save up, I think to get both is 2.8k. If you save up 2.8k, if you've got a Whispering Helm, and then you can see if you're going to be able to end the game early, you can split it and get an Insanitarius and an Elder Parasite.
That's interesting. Yeah.
And if you think this is going to go late game, then you save up and then you go the Symbol of Rage.
Yeah. That's interesting. I don't. So my counter to that would be on Predator. I don't think it's a good idea because I don't get lifesteal on Predator because Predator has the Carnivorous already.
Yeah.
So it's
not on Pred, but I'm just as a general thing. It just kind of popped into my mind because strength carries.
And just since we're on the topic, I do just want to mention it. I see a lot of people get lifesteal on Predator. You don't need it. It's the same concept behind all that movement speed on the Pyromancer that we were talking about. It's too much. You already have the lifesteal to heal you with your Carnivorous. You don't need all that lifesteal. It's not. It's a waste of gold, really. Essentially,
It's not efficient at all.
Yeah, so I see people do it a lot. It's not really all that good. If you want to go the Shieldbreaker route, I don't agree with it, but it's okay. It's not wrong, I don't think, to go Shield Breaker and then Demonic and get the whole negative armor attack speed thing going. That's fine. It works. I just like the tanky kind of route better, but that's fine.
Frostburn is better for pubs, and Shieldbreaker is better when you've got an organized team that can lock them down, so you don't need to CC them.
Yeah, that's true too. Because if you get a Shield Breaker, your only crowd control is the leap, and well, I mean, I guess
Somewhat from the ult.
Yeah,
guess.
I was gonna say you could count the ult as increasing your movement speed, so it's kind of like plus crowd control for your team. But in general, he doesn't really. He's a lot like, and this applies to a lot of melee carries. They don't really usually have that much crowd control. A lot of the time they depend on their team for it. Like a lot of the time the S2 will give them one slow or stun of something of the sort, and then the rest of it will be up to their team to do the rest, to hold them down while they can do the damage. So it's a little bit up to preference, a little bit up to coordination, things of that nature. But in general, Savage Mace is a bad pickup. You rarely build the attack speed to make it worth it, and in this case he certainly didn't. And on Predator, it's usually Savage Mace is a ranged heroes item, although you can get it on some melee carries that have very high mobility. Ones that come to mind are like Madman. It's okay. Yeah, because Madman has the stock that's off cooldown every 5 or 6 seconds.
It's also good for a last item on melee carries.
Yeah, on a lot of melee carries it's okay. But in general, on Predator, for example, it's not okay. I would never get it on Predator. He doesn't have enough crowd control or mobility to make it worth it. So you're not going to get the usefulness out of it. Brutalizer's fine if you want to go that route. I don't usually get it, but it's okay. It's a fine item to pick up on Pred. It's okay. If you want to give yourself a bit more crowd control, it's totally okay. Yeah. Okay. So that's all there is then. So yeah. So it was a fair game, I guess. The only thing, and I just want to come back to it. I know we talked about it already. Pyromancer, you just have to play like a team, man. It's unfortunate, but I know everybody likes to have a high KD. It's how the game's played, but it's just not the way to do it correctly if you plan on improving. If you have fun doing this, man, then by all means. But if you want to improve, if you want to raise your MMR, then this is not the way to do it. You're not going to get a lot of wins like this, and a lot of the time it'll actually cause your team to get angry with you too, and then that makes.
I'm gonna let you wrap up, man, because my clan wants me to go and play.
Yeah, and then that makes it even worse. Okay, so other than that, though, that's all there is to talk about. So feel free to keep submitting replays, though, because we do have. There's a couple more for Haku, but after that, we're out of replays. So feel free to keep submitting them if you guys want. Other than that, that's all there is to it. So thank you for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you learned something, Haku, and everybody else as well. Yeah, so once again, thank you for watching, and I will talk to you guys later. GG, well played, guys. Elfis out.